Coming up next on The Voice of Alabama Politics, Trump endorses Tuberville. Also, the V-Team takes a look at more gambling bills. And what did the state legislature do first to fight the coronavirus?
Dude, what's up? What's up, bro? How are you? So good, dude. High five. Nice. Turkey! Oh, come on, man. Seriously, dude. All right, cool. Chill. Dude, really? All right.
All right, this time I'm not gonna do it.
Okay, Eric. Okay.
Stick shift.
Oh,
Really?
I'm not a car.
Park it. Hop the rock. Snowman. Frosty. Ride the bow. Yeah!
Fist bump, baby. Can you say pandemic? All this and much, much more coming up next on The V. Welcome to The Voice of Alabama Politics, where we tackle the tough issues so you have the hard facts. I'm your host, Bill Britt, and today I'm joined by Josh Moon, investigative reporter and columnist at APR, Susan Britt, editor at APR, and research guru extraordinary.
Nary.
Yes. And Charlie Walker, assistant to the editors at APR and New York Times freelance writer. How are you, Charlie?
I'm great. How are you?
I was going to ask, have you and Elizabeth Warren been shopping together lately?
Can you do the dance? Can you do
Because we did notice that you and Elizabeth do share a similar wardrobe taste.
We share some style tips sometimes.
Okay. Well, you say hey, Elizabeth, next time you talk to her. All right.
Points a lot.
And it's a very serious subject. The coronavirus, COVID-19 strand is here in Alabama. It's been here a lot longer than our public officials would have liked for us to know. But this week we did have on Friday one confirmed case. We understand there are more cases. But the first thing that the legislature did to fight COVID-19.
Proactive, baby, proactive.
To fight it was to announce they passed a resolution that replaced handshaking with what, Susan?
A fist bump.
Fist bump.
How ridiculous is that? It's still your hand. Seriously.
Boom.
That's contact with
Hey.
hands, man.
Can I remind everybody that is a terrorist fist bump?
It is when Michelle...
when black people do it only, but you know.
Yes. When Michelle and Barack Obama did it, it was called the terrorist fist bump.
I mean, but how silly. You know, they addressed that before they even addressed the virus funding itself, which was kind of a made-up deal.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
But
they
you
did
can't-
put $5 million, which is...
But they didn't follow the whole process. So
Yeah,
it's a little questionable
shaky on
about
whether or not that
how
$5
it's
million
actually
makes
going to
it
work
anywhere.
out.
Well, and I think really, I would like to take a minute to go back and let's understand where we've been, where we are. I mean, in January 30th, the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a world health crisis, meaning Alabama, part of the world, they were alerted that this was a health
Are we though?
crisis.
Are we?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
The first time, Josh, we did anything really of significance was 2 Thursdays ago.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and we had a meeting, a teleconference with the hospitals in which we asked, how many beds do we have? How many ventilators do we have? How much of this? How much? You would think that they would already know that.
Wait a minute, January, March?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
Well, you know, they first of all, the answers to all those questions are not enough, and I think we all pretty well know that. And it's going to be, you know, states like Alabama in particular are vulnerable because of our refusal to expand Medicaid, which has, and however you want to look at expansion of Medicaid, it has led directly to the closure of 17 hospitals, rural hospitals in this state over the last 10 years. So you take out however many beds that is, and you have large swaths of this country, of this state, that are not covered by any sort of healthcare facility. We had on the podcast that I do, we had one of the Alabama Department of Public Health doctors on there, the lady Bernstein Taylor, who is leading the efforts in this. And she talked about in those areas like the Black Belt, where people have to drive for more than 30 miles at times to even reach any sort of facility, they're going to try to contract with private firms and small clinics, your dock-in-the-boxes, basically, to test for these people, which seems suspicious since they can't get tests into hospitals.
Right.
And so I think we have been drastically unprepared, as we have been for most everything else. And, I don't know where this goes, but I don't think it's going to be pretty.
Well, the guidelines that you had, you and I were looking at the guidelines for actually being able to get tested are ridiculously strict.
That's for doctors.
Ridiculously strict.
Yeah, that's for doctors to be able to get a test, and I think that is what is kind of a holdup. We have a large number of reports over the last week of doctors saying, listen, we have patients who are either positive, we've seen a positive test, or we believe them to be positive. They exhibit all the symptoms and have tested negative for everything else. And we've quarantined them either here or we've quarantined them at their homes, and we cannot get tests for these people. In the meantime, the Department of Public Health has been telling everybody, no confirmed cases in the state.
Well,
and this is how people die.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the thing is, they didn't start testing until Tuesday.
This week, Tuesday.
This week, Tuesday.
Yeah.
Now we have commercial organizations that are testing now, but then the public health is wanting them to be retested.
And add on top of that, there's a scarcity of the test to start with.
Right.
So they're testing and retesting instead of giving that test to somebody else that doesn't hit the guidelines.
I don't want to, I don't know what position they're in. And this is where, and this was something I've talked about with some other people, is I don't know where they are in terms of just saying, we weren't prepared versus covering for the federal government and the Trump administration when the president has said, there's plenty of tests out there. And they're clearly not.
No.
They're clearly not enough.
They say
CDC said on Wednesday there's not enough tests.
And so I don't think we have the tests here to be able to do.
No, it's not a matter. We have asked for 2 weeks, how many tests, what is their capacity? They refused at the Department of Public Health.
I don't think they know.
Yeah.
They know how many tests they have. I don't know maybe they don't know.
I don't know. Well, they didn't. I'll tell you this. At 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon, the head of ADPH gave a press conference and said they had tested fewer than 50. 2 hours before that, Bernstein Taylor told us on a podcast interview that they had tested over 100.
And she's in charge.
Okay, we only have about 45 seconds.
And I did want to, I wanted to chime in. I mean, since we're still talking about Corona, it is something to take seriously. Like, it genuinely is. Like, we have some Republicans, we have Republican leadership, and honestly, I've seen it a lot in millennials. Like, I've watched us on social media, I've watched the conversations, and people think it's a joke a lot. They really do. Yeah. Like, they're not buying in. This is a time to buy into the hype a little bit.
It's, and people look at it in terms of themselves, all right? And so for younger people, it isn't that huge of a problem for you. But what you are doing is spreading it to other people who are at risk, who do have problems.
Please just wash your hands.
This has a 3% mortality rate. Take it seriously.
We're going to have to leave it right there. You're watching the voice of Alabama politics. When we get back, we're going to talk about gaming bills.
What a great opportunity for your success. Adding 500,000 highly skilled employees to our workforce by 2025 is how we stay ahead in Alabama. Our economy is stronger than it's been in years, and a skilled workforce is more important than ever. Things move fast, so choose your path. Your success is waiting, plus a great future for Alabama. Success Plus. Go for it.
What are you doing today, babe?
I thought I'd head down to the lake with the guys, do a little fishing. Of course, none of us will be wearing our seatbelts. I'll lose control of the truck, wrap it around a tree, and kill us all.
Okay.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
The Energy Institute of Alabama promotes reliable, affordable, and clean energy to help grow our economy, create high-paying jobs, and build public support for Alabama's energy industry. The Energy Institute of Alabama is the best source of energy industry information and how it affects households across the state, from convenient energy production to alternative fuels to solar power and beyond.
Welcome back to the voice of Alabama politics. Before we move on to the gaming bills, I did want to take a minute to mention that the Alabama Department of Corrections last week, Eddie Burkhalter did an article in which he exposed that the Department of Correction has no plan to protect the 23,000 prisoners, the thousands of correctional officers and workers in state prison. There is no plan, period.
What they're doing is bringing up an old Riley plan from 2009 as if that's going to have, it's 10 years old.
20 years
20
old.
years old. Come on, seriously?
Like I said, no plan.
Yeah, I think you probably could have stopped without the qualifier of the Department of Corrections has no plan for. I mean, just stop at no plan. They have no plan. And I mean, really, the way they kind of announced that was just really perfect for the ADOC, which was, we got no plan. Okay.
Yep.
I tell you what the plan is. I tell you what their plan is. To solve the overcrowding problem.
Yeah. Oh, hey. That's pretty bad.
It's bad, but I mean, if you got no plan, what else is there to think if you just don't care?
Well,
Right. And I mean, if you think about it, like I've never personally been in the prisons, but you've told me what it's like. And you said sometimes there's 6 sinks? How are they supposed to
300, all right, 300 men in a dorm with 6 sinks. How are they going to wash their hands?
Do they get hand sanitizer or something? Are they giving them anything?
Oh, that could be weaponized.
There is one case of this disease or this virus in a prison. Every single prisoner in that prison is going to have that virus.
And probably security.
And let me tell you, as somebody that's been in 3 of these prisons, these people cannot get 6 feet away from each other.
That's right.
It's not possible.
No, it's not. It's not.
Can't social distance.
All right, so let's move on. Some people that never say die are the Poarch Band of Creek Indians. We wish them well, but we don't wish that they own everything. The Greg Albritton, senator from the Poarch Creek, as his colleagues like to call him, introduced a bill, Josh, a week or so ago, in which it would give the Poarch Creek not only a monopoly over all gaming, it would virtually put everybody else out of business, and it would also allow them to have sports book and video lottery terminals, but no one else would have anything but a paper lottery.
Yeah, and when we say put everybody out of business, we're talking about the pari-mutuel gaming that's taken place at a variety of different places around the state now for decades.
Yes.
That a lot of people have gone to.
Tracks and such.
Yeah, that employ a lot of people in Macon County and Greene County specifically, and Birmingham as well. But in those 2 counties, they really, really need those jobs.
Yes.
And so those folks would just be out of a job overnight if this thing passes, which I I suspect it never will because of that. You know, you need to get the tracks and people on board, and I think our state leaders, at least most of them at this point, recognize that you're going to have to bring everybody to the table. I think Del Marsh has started on that at some point. There's supposed to be some work over in the House on doing that. You know, Mac McCutcheon said that's what he wanted. You know, we'll see. But it's a terrible idea to do this. And I don't know anybody, you poll people about this, everybody wants the gaming for the most part, or a majority of people want the gaming, but a majority of people definitely do not want one entity to own it.
Right. And Susan, that's the thing. You can't, they do not want to be fair. They do not want to share. And this type of selfishness and dropping this bill, I'm told, and this is by lawmakers, but I don't know, it could be true, could not be true, that because the Poarch Creek has spent millions of dollars promoting this $1 billion plan, that some of the tribal council and the lobbyists do not want to lose face, so they're trying to push this.
Yeah, and they've put a lot of money in lawmakers' pockets as well.
That's true.
And
That's
yes,
true.
they don't want to be embarrassed, but it was an embarrassing idea to start with, okay? This is just insane to try to give them some sort of monopoly or even bring it up. When we had lawmakers and leaders and everything, when we started this session that says everybody come to the table, if everybody doesn't come to the table, walk away happy, we're not doing anything. But here they are
Yeah.
What happened
doing
to
this
standing
crap
behind
again.
the governor? What happened to that?
Right.
Just kind of chuck that out the window.
Well, yeah, right.
Where'd they go?
The governor said, I want to come back with a plan for everybody, and basically they just slapped her in the face.
I mean, yeah, with Klaus's bill and, Mac McCutcheon. Okay, Mac, I'm just gonna say, like, you can't flip-flop so much. You can't say you want a deal and the best deal possible and then turn around and say you don't want a deal and then you do want a deal again and now you're signing on to a paper lottery. It doesn't make any sense. That's not the best deal possible.
He also said he was standing behind the governor.
They originally said he was standing behind the governor, and look at him now.
Yeah.
It doesn't make,
Well, maybe he's standing way behind the
He's still
governor.
back there. He's still way back
As
there.
I used to say, you're so far back there, I
20
can't see.
feet,
So far behind me, I
30
can't see you.
If you look at this, the main thing I think that people need to understand is that it's not a $1 billion deal for them. It is a multi-billion-dollar loser for them. If you go with
For the
this plan-
state.
For the state, yeah. It's a multi-billion-dollar loser year after year after year because you're going to lose so much in value that you could get out of this. If you're going to pass a lottery and a sports book and multiple casinos throughout the state, then you need to get all that you can get out of it. And that's all anybody has ever advocated for, at least I have, is get what you can, be fair to other people, open it up and let other folks get involved in it.
When I think what y'all were talking about, and kind of y'all jumped a little ahead of me, but is that Steve, that's fine. Steve Klaus, y'all are generally ahead of me. Steve Klaus introduced a paper-only lottery, and that's what y'all were talking about, and that in which he has 70 co-sponsors, including Alabama Speaker of the House, Mac McCutcheon, a Majority Leader, Nathaniel Ledbetter, and Anthony Daniels, the Minority Leader. And this is after Speaker McCutcheon said if he couldn't get a grand deal, like you said, he didn't want any deal. And then he said when Kay Ivey introduced her policy group, he said, well, I'm standing behind the governor. Which is it, right?
I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't.
People need to understand the paper lottery is not what we need here in Alabama. It is a dying industry. Yes, it has the word lottery attached, but it's not what you think it is.
But I think
Please
It's
research
not
it.
what you want.
It's not what you're looking for, trust me.
It's not it.
But I think what this does, it's not a business decision the way we would look at it. This is a political decision. If they pass this, they can say, hey, you got a lottery, and never have to bring it up again. Anytime anybody says, well, how about getting this? We got a lottery. And
You
it
got a
ends
lottery,
the
we
discussion.
gave you a lottery, even though it's a crappy lottery, deal with it.
You got a lottery, okay. Best government money can buy. All right, we'll be right back. You're watching The V, the voice of Alabama politics. Trump endorses Tuberville.
Hey man, what are you doing today?
Play the game. Thought I'd go out for a drive later maybe. Text some friends while I'm doing it. Scroll through social media. Kill a family 4 and a head on collision.
Cool, man.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
A lot can change in 5 years. Except those smile lines you treated with Bellafill. Because that's about how long Bellafill will keep them smooth and filled. 5 years. Now you can always look your best without all those injections, appointments, and costs. Bellafill is the only dermal filler that stimulates and maintains collagen growth long term. Now time is on your side.
Welcome back to the V, the voice of Alabama politics. So it came as no surprise that President Donald Trump could not contain himself. He had to weigh in on the U.S. Senate race here in Alabama, and he endorsed Jeff Sessions, right? Oh, no, not Jeff Sessions. He endorsed Tommy Tuberville, right, Susan?
Anybody that didn't see that one coming has had their head in the sand for the last 4 years. You know, because Trump absolutely hates Sessions. He has for a long time.
But Sessions always supports his president.
Yes, I know. That's part of the problem, but
That's what makes
this
it
is
so
not a
great.
surprise.
So great. Just watching the little Confederate squirm. So nice.
Colonel Beauregard,
Yeah.
you say?
Colonel Beauregard is not having a good week.
No.
But he still loves Trump.
No.
And supports the agenda.
No, I mean,
He's right there.
the thing that I don't understand,
embarrassing.
and I heard this from a Republican stalwart who said, if Jeff Sessions gave a hoot, that's not what he said, but gave a hoot about the Republican Party in Alabama, he would drop out now and let Tuberville go on and face Jones. But I believe that Jeff Sessions only cares about Jeff Sessions.
Yeah.
And the only reason he's running is to try to restore his legacy. Well, that's not what running for U.S. Senator is
And
about.
that legacy thing isn't going real well right now, is it?
Trump's going to keep reminding, people of what his legacy is in the
Via
Trump
tweet.
administration.
I would just like for somebody to explain to me. You mentioned that's not what being the U.S. Senator is about. I would like for somebody to explain to me what either of these candidates has made being a U.S. Senator about. What problems of yours have they made the forefront of their campaigns that they are going to solve or that they're going to address? Any issue at all? Give me one. What issue has either candidate talked about in depth that you are satisfied with enough that you would vote for?
You mean
either of
actually,
them?
you don't mean in depth. You mean actually brought up,
Just
said
talk,
out loud.
Yeah, just talk about for a
said
few
out
minutes.
loud.
Any issue that has been brought up at a Rotary Club meeting or at a barbecue joint or anywhere else, which topic has won you over for these two crazy people that are running for Senate?
And the Senate this week passed the medical marijuana bill.
That's what I thought.
So it came.
We were rolling good there.
Yeah. But since there is no reasonable answer to that,
Yeah,
we
we just
move
move
on
on.
to something. All right, so
It just doesn't exist.
Susan, Senate, the full body, passed the medical marijuana bill. This is one of the strictest medical marijuana bills in the nation.
Oh, I'm shocked.
Like, I was so excited. I was like, yay. Oh. When I found out what actually it entailed, so.
I know our reporter, Jessa Reed Bolin, was in last week with families that one husband had MS. There was a child that had so many seizures that had about 2 months, a 2-year-old that had about 2 months to live. Anyway, sitting with all these families and hearing these stories, and I mean, it was just heartbreaking to listen to their stories and to then see this is not making any difference in how they're trying to pass this bill. They're trying to pass like a baby aspirin bill.
I mean, it's kind of like back what we did with the lottery. If once they pass it, boom, we passed it. We're done. We're good.
Exactly. I think you're right about that.
I do think it's, some people would say it's too restrictive. However, it is better than what we have now. And the Republicans have led this charge. Democrats have supported. It's been bipartisan. But by and large, it has been Republicans that have led.
Well, they led the charge because Democrats knew they couldn't get done. I mean, really, if they would have brought it, they would have never gotten to see the light of day. And so Senator Tim Melson that brought this thing, he's a doctor, knows what he's doing, and he's been pushing this thing. They should have left the bill alone to begin with. But there was a lot of opposition to this bill from illegal drug dealers out there that were trying to push it and paying against that because it's really cut into their
illegal
business.
drug dealers?
That's the primary. It's the pharmaceutical companies and the illegal drug dealers pushing against this thing.
Makes sense.
Because
It
it's,
does make sense.
you legalize this, you give people another option, a cheaper option, and an option that works and is non-addictive and doesn't kill anybody. It cuts into their market.
Yeah.
You're
right about
so
that.
here we are.
Well, I think it's significant. I think, from my opinion, if you can do something to relieve pain and suffering in people's lives, it's probably a good idea to give it a shot.
Yeah.
And you did say something, they restricted the THC levels?
They have restricted the THC level.
Okay.
But I don't.
We don't want it to be too effective.
No. Definitely.
And
We don't want it to be effective enough to counteract opioids. You don't want to do that.
Exactly.
I am hopeful that this is a beginning and not them saying, we did it, slamming the door and walking away.
Well, and that's most likely the case because people are afraid of it becoming recreational. You cannot recreate with this. There will be no recreation.
Recreation.
All right.
Chop it up. What did you say? Chop it up and snort it or set it on fire and do this?
I was like,
Well, I really have to say that of all the progress that has been made this session, the most seminal bill is that the House of Representatives, the Alabama House of Representatives, has passed a bill to end the ban on yoga.
Namaste.
Yeah.
Mama say, mama say,
Hey,
mama.
whoa.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Wait.
tell me.
No namaste, first of all, and no instructions in foreign languages. Because if you receive an instruction in foreign language on stretching, you automatically become Hindu. It's a little known fact.
That's
but
how we got
figured it
this
out
law.
here.
Yeah, that's how we got
And
this
the
law to begin with.
the history of this bill is back in the 90s when they put a ban on yoga in school. It was because they were afraid of the Maharashas and Maharishis and everybody else.
Yeah,
and this
Hindu religion taking over.
Controlling the minds of Alabama students.
I got to tell you, man, Christianity must be hanging by a thread. Stretching is going to win you over to a different
How many years has this been out there? I know 3 or 4 now. Finally, they're getting something done about it. It is proven. It helps children focus with ADHD. It helps violent children or problem children get them calm.
Well, and then they have reason enough to wear those yoga pants like their moms.
There you go.
Right?
No yoga pants, uniforms.
That's right.
We have uniforms.
Oh, we have uniforms for yoga?
No, we have school uniforms.
Yeah.
They can't do stretching in school uniforms.
Yeah.
Maybe they're
Maybe if we had
class.
they're
better
Lululemon
funding.
uniforms. Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. Lululemon. Because everywhere I go, you see women in yoga pants.
they're comfortable.
Well, but some of them really probably
Don't need
Need.
to wear.
Oh, come on, man. Let the women wear their yoga pants.
All right, well, women, wear your yoga pants. Men do not. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for us. You've been watching The V, the voice of Alabama politics. You watch us because we watch them.